As we read through the Gospels, there's a phrase that comes up that is interesting and thought-provoking. As Jesus is teaching the crowds, here and there in the scripture, we'll see a phrase that says, he teaches as one that has authority. It's kind of an interesting phrase, especially since he was seen as a rabbi. But it's almost as if they're saying he's coming up with something fresh and new, but it has weight, it has meaning, has purpose. Where is this man coming up with these sayings? Which also leads to another point of the times that the crowd doesn't say that. Could it be that those teachings may have reflected the culture around? Or in other words, was it teachings that was still a new perspective, and of course coming from Jesus, it had its own correct and rightful authority, but did it sound similar to other teachings that people were familiar with? Well, that's what we're going to dive into today. I hope this finds you well. Thank you so much for coming by Quotable Quotes. And we're going to be looking at a quote from New Light on the Difficult Words of Jesus by David Bivin. And we're going to explore that. We're going to explore a little bit of the context around Jesus's time in first century Judaism. So I hope you enjoy. Let's dive in.
Quotable Quotes Productions. We dive deep and swim around the ideas of the constructed ink on the pages. To seek out and find the precious diadems, the words of value worth wrestling with, that we may share with you the precious thoughts you may not have the time to find. We'll grab the book as you enjoy the gleanings. Blessings, my friend. Let's embark. The best known of the Mishnah's 63 tractates is titled 𝚆𝚒𝚘𝚑𝚒, or Chapters of the Fathers, or simply Avot, meaning fathers, but it is often referred to in English as the Sayings of the Fathers, or Ethics of the Fathers. Avot is a collection of cherished sayings of more than 60 illustrious rabbis, beginning with sayings from the 3rd century BC. Although the subject matter of the rest of the Mishnah is primarily legal, Avot is devotional in nature, dealing almost wholly with moral behavior. Only 6 chapters in length, this tractate has some of the closest parallels to the sayings of Jesus known from rabbinic literature. For example, one saying is, quote, "The day is short and the work is great, but the workers are lazy. However, the wages are high since the owner is in a hurry," end quote. This is close to Jesus' words in Matthew 9:37-38, quote, "The work of harvesting is great, and the workers are few. Ask the owner of the harvest to bring more workers for his harvest," end quote. Another passage reads, quote, "Do not be like slaves that serve their master in order to receive a reward. Rather, be like slaves that do not serve their master in order to receive a reward," end quote. From Avot 1:3. This seems parallel to Jesus' saying, quote, "So you too, when you have done all the things you are commanded, say, we are unworthy slaves. We have only done what it was our duty to do," end quote. Luke 17:7-8 and verse 10. Equally as important as Avot's parallels are its sayings that describe the religious lifestyle of Jesus' time, particularly the life of the rabbi and disciple. The very first passage of the tractate exhorts rabbis to, quote, "raise up many disciples," end quote. Avot 1:1. A parallel to Jesus' words to, quote, "make disciples of all nations," end quote. Matthew 28:19. Another line calls upon the people to show hospitality to rabbis, quote, "Let your home be a meeting place for the rabbis, and cover yourself with the dust of their feet, and drink in their words thirstily," end quote. We can see that Mary and Martha followed these instructions and opened their home to Jesus and his disciples. See, for example, Luke 10:38-42. Yet other sayings describe the typical life of a Jewish man in Jesus' day, showing the emphasis on education and the study of scriptures. A number of sayings in the vote, although not directly parallel to the sayings of Jesus, strongly remind us of the spiritual depth found in Jesus' teaching. Quote, "This world is like an entry hall before the world to come. Prepare yourself in the entry hall, that you may enter into the banqueting hall." A vote 4:16. And, quote, "Be as strong as a leopard, swift as the eagle, fleet as a gazelle, and brave as a lion to do the will of your Father in heaven." End quote. A vote 5:20.
As this quote concludes, I'm curious, did you find this information helpful, encouraging, thought-provoking? Were you aware of the similar sayings of Jesus around the same time? It also leads me to wonder how many more gems there are hidden in the history that we might not be aware of. Well, there's more to dig up. So happy hunting, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more quotes coming from Mr. Bivin in the days and weeks ahead. In the meantime, continue walking that narrow path, get in those books, swim around those pages. Blessings, my friend.